Alright guys, I just got my new Demon RC Fury 3.5X in the mail today. I'm super excited to put it together. The one thing I've noticed though is that it didn't come with any assembly instructions. So I've searched online and I wasn't able to find any, and nothing that was suitable. So we're going to walk through a quick assembly. I figured I've assembled enough copters at this point that should be able to walk through a quick video on this one. So if you guys want to follow along, you'll notice I have this piece here already assembled. What I'll do is I'll take that back apart again and we'll walk through it. Alright, so as you can see I've separated these two halves. I left the spacers on this half just to make things a little easier for me. But you'll see you have 8 spacers altogether. You have these 4 shorter ones and the 4 longer ones that attach to this side plate. See how long this my ruler out here. You got about 2 centimeters long on the longer ones, and then really shorter ones about 1.5 centimeters or 15 millimeters. And you're gonna want to find this plate here that looks sort of like a shield, I guess, or something, and together with your side plate you want to slide this into your side plate here like so. Then grab your other side plate and you'll see that it's got notches cut out already, sort of here and here, to fit this plate. And you won't be able to get this plate in here afterwards if you put this together ahead of time. So slide that all together. And then just stick a couple screws to hold it on. Hold it all together while we tighten it up. I really like these blue anodized aluminum spacers and screws. They look really sharp. Probably one of the sharpest looking copters I've built, or quads I've built so far. You want to make sure you get this plate centered here too, because it does fit in a particular way. While I was going through my pieces here, I noticed I have this small bracket, and what you want to do when you're putting these side plates on, these are your top ones here, this little guy fits right in this slot here. So I'm going to go ahead and snap it in there like that. And slide these all together again. And you should line up with that side, just like that. Okay, a couple more of these short screws. And I'm just going to make these snug because you never know when you have to take them apart again. Okay, now looking down at that's pretty well centered. I mean, it's not going to come back out of there again, that's for sure. Okay, so now that we've got that done, I'm going to find our other 2 spacers, or other 4 spacers here. So as you can see, I've got my 4 spacers on, my side brackets, and we'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that guys, I'm back. Where did we leave off here? Okay, we've got these spacers installed on our side plates now, so we can go ahead and move on to our mid plate here. You'll see that I've got this nut already installed in the plate. What that is, I don't know if you can see that well, but you've got 4 of these nuts in your hardware. What they have is these little teeth on them, and the holes in that center plate are actually the right size. So what you want to do is get your pliers and squish those into that center plate, and I'll show you how I do that. It's just a regular pair of pliers. Okay, so to make things easier, grab your center plate here. Looks like that. Grab one of your nuts with the teeth, and this center hole here, you'll notice it's slightly bigger than the other 3. What we're going to do is line that nut up on the plate. I'm going to grab my pliers and start to squish it in there. It actually works if you sort of work your way from edge to edge, back and forth a bit, round in circles. You'll feel it start biting in. There we go, and that's just going to make it easier when we put the screws in through the bottom. They're not going to be trying to pull those through, they'll already be in there, and they'll just sort of finish the job. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that for the other 2 nuts. Alright, so I've got all those nuts pressed into the center plate. You'll notice now you can pick up your top canopy, if you want to call that, and that center plate sits just sort of in the middle of it. I'm going to turn it upside down. We're going to work on it upside down from here because it just makes things a little easier. And I'm going to start putting each arm on. And the only way I'm figuring out how to do this is by looking at the picture they've got on their website, which isn't super helpful, but I can sort of blow it up and see what's going on. So we're going to put these arms in the bottom plate on and see how that goes. So with one of the arms sitting on here, this bottom plate simply snaps onto these little tangs sticking out the bottom of your canopy, and there doesn't appear to be a front and back to it, so I'm just gonna remove that arm, and there it just snaps on like that. It's not really held on there securely, but it's just enough that you can slide the arms in. Makes it a little easier for assembly, which is nice. And then we're just going to start putting some of our hardware in here. I actually went and separated out my screws, and also got different links here, so let's talk about that real quick. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I've got 5 of these, which are about 7 millimeters. I have one shorter one for some reason. It's 5 millimeters. Hopefully that doesn't cause me an issue. I have 4 of these longer ones at 11, and 4 of these medium-sized ones at 10. So just be aware you have different size screws. Again, since there's no assembly instructions, I put all the shorter ones on the canopy. Thinking I probably need the longer ones for the through holes into the arms, and so we'll see how it goes. Just gonna stick the arms in here to make sure I've got the spacing, because it's actually pretty snug. There we go. Now we'll worry about holes. Start putting some screws together here. So I'm going to use these longer ones for the outermost hole that goes into the sort of upright aluminum standoff. Again, I'm not going to tighten these in here because chances are, I don't have the flight control board or anything on here yet, and so it's all going to be coming apart anyway. Okay, so there's just the outer screws in. You can sort of see it's resembling a copter now, which is nice. Now what we're going to use now is the 10mm screws to go through to these nuts on the center plate. The picture does show, picture on the website shows the screws sticking out slightly from the top of that nut, so my measure of success is going to be whether or not my screw sticks out the same amount as in the picture. And you know what, that looks a lot like the picture. Okay, so I'm going to put the rest of these 10mm screws in through the bottom plate. So that's what we got so far. And picture shows a couple of these nylon standoffs here. And I've also got 4 O-rings. I have these. Actually, I had to get this 1 O-ring from my kit because it only came with 3. For some reason, I got 3 O-rings and 5 nuts, but luckily I had another O-ring kicking around. That's a metric 3x1. It looks maybe slightly bigger, so these might be a 2x1, but it's going to work just the same. Looks like the only thing to attach them with is these more screws here, and they should go, let's just make sure they go far enough through. Alright guys, so I got the 3rd screw in here on this one arm, and what I've noticed is like this is already pretty squished together, and there is not a lot of screws sticking out of the bottom of that plate. Let me see. So there's a better shot of that. You can see that screw. There is not a lot of that screw sticking out of that plate, and still need to get this nylon standoff screwed onto it. So you might be better off using the yeah, I really only got about maybe 2 turns. 1, 2 and a bit turns onto that screw. So I mean, if you're okay with that few turns holding your electronics on your board, then go for it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap these center screws here that are slightly longer with the shorter one, because really you don't need a chunk of screw sticking out the top of that nut. Alright guys, so I swapped those screws. And get a better picture. There we go. As you can see, I've got a lot more head sticking out of that screw now, or sticking out that bottom plate. So I'm feeling a little more comfortable screwing this nylon standoff on there and not having my flight control board and all my electronics come off mid-flight. Yeah, that's much better. That fits on there perfectly. And then that other screw, the top of that's just at the end of that nut, so there's not going to be any problems there at all. I went ahead and swapped over all those screws, and I'm a lot happier with the way it's looking here. I've got a couple more left to put in, but basically that's your Demon RC Fury 3.5X. You got a battery strap here, little bumper pad to put on the bottom of your frame where you want to mount your battery, and you got some stickers. So yeah, there you go guys. Hopefully that helped with the assembly of this little guy. I'm looking forward to flying it. I'll probably post another video later once I get flight controller and everything mounted up to it. Till then, take care.